The Lone Star State makes its lone appearance in the Stock Car Racing League Fisher Studios Truck Series schedule, and it couldn't come at a more important time. Round 17 of 20 underway tonight, and we'll get going with the Lone Star 170 in just a few minutes. Qualifying currently underway with a total of 2 minutes remaining, and it's right now the number 99 of Vinny Tigner on your screen. He finds himself third in qualifying behind Alexander Valdez and Jordan Kuntz. Kuntz is the man who's up front here in qualifying provisional pole by 85 thousandths of a second. I'm your host for tonight's broadcast, David Kreutz. Great to be with you once again, and tonight's going to be a bit different. Texas Motor Speedway was not expected to be on the calendar when we got this season started. Originally, this was supposed to be the Okayama event, a road course. However, the drivers voted against it, and here we are at the mile-and-a-half circuit in Fort Worth, Texas. Many have made their names known at this track. A former NASCAR All-Star race was here, and at one point in Texas at Texas World Speedway, the NASCAR season finale used to be for the Winston Cup Series. That was a long time ago. However, tonight it's going to be all about the virtual trucks, and the numbered 11 machine is one of which, who makes his way down the back right now. 6-time laps go back to Kyle Jackson, as 12 drivers have registered so far for the session, Michael Deitch being the only of which to have not taken one lap on the circuit. Dylan Bass has not put down a time in qualifying here. He's a winner already in this season. Dominated Darlington as a playoff spoiler, but now coming back once again, going to be Matthew Weeks going up to the 7th spot on the board. Alec Daffin right up behind him, and now the Daffin machine on its way. Final 5 races of his career in this league coming in this playoff section, and now it is Fisher Studios on the hood for the number 48 as he comes into turns 3 and 4 this time by. He's 7th, now 8th on the board. He's going to try to one-up himself with a lap that's 7/10 of a second faster than his last. Alec Daffin goes from last to a dead heat for first by less than 1,000th of a second. It's Alec Daffin, the top man on the board in the number 48. Big run for Alec Daffin. Last of first in qualifying, he brought everything into that lap. A dead heat with a 30.0084. Phenomenal lap for that number 48. He's now the top man of the order with 41 seconds remaining. Looks like it's going to be Chris Tripp, the last man to put a lap down. And with that being said, we got a little more time before the race gets on its way. Chris Tripp makes it down the back, and we will set up to show you your starting grid for this race. Great to see Chris Tripp back as well. A lot of guys coming back for the first race in quite some time. Michael Deitch will be one of which. Alexander Valdez makes his debut on the season, and many new faces looking to shine, and it is a different place. Texas Motor Speedway, its one and only appearance in the season, comes in the playoffs, and it's going to be a 170-mile event, 113 laps of full-on racing. And why don't we take a look at that starting grid? Chris Tripp done and done on that note, and without further ado, this is your starting grid for the Lone Star 170, and it is led off by the man in the number 48 machine. As we mentioned, Alec Daffin finds himself on pole position in his Chevy Silverado with a 30.084, and Vinny Tigner going to be right beside him with a dead heat in qualifying. They're going to be both scored with a 30.084. Looks like Alec Daffin faster to that 4th digit in the decimals. Then going to be Vinny Tigner, position number 3, 99 machine. That's another Chevy Silverado. He's going to find himself in 3rd outside of row 2. Right next to him, going to be Matthew Weeks, 30.135 from Matthew Weeks, and it's going to be a 30.124 for Vinny Tigner. Don't let the name fool you. Alexander Valdez racing under the student named River Page. 95 machine is going to be 5th spot in qualifying, and the Texas Ringer, a Houston native, comes out for his first race of the season of the Stock Car Racing League. He's going to be starting in the 5th spot with a 30.169. A nice lap as Aaron Brown. You might have seen it before in our stream. He's running the 51 for 1 and race tonight in that special paint scheme for proximity racing. It's a 30.286 for him, with Carter Casey position number 7 with a 30.289, separated by only 3/1000ths of a second. Next on up, going to be Kyle Jackson in the 8th spot, going to be a 30.305 for him, and then Jordan Parker position number 9 with a 30.469 for your title sponsor of this league. Jordan Parker's number 65 machine, sponsored by Fisher Studios and Everseal, lines up next to returning driver Chris Tripp in the number 90. It's yet another one of those drivers with the same number font as Trackhouse Racing. Tigner's third in that bunch, 7th is Carter Casey. Chris Tripp returns in a good spot, solid in the top 10 with a 30.537 around at the top 10 and be outside of row number 5. From there on out, only 2 more drivers remain to get this one started, both of which have not taken the time in qualifying. Dylan Basin did take a lap in practice at Texas. We'll see whether or not he keeps on going. Darlington winner starts 11th tonight inside row 6 and the ride out in the field shotgun spot. It's the number 44 machine of Michael Deitch to round out the even dozen we got for the field, and that will be your starting grid for the Lone Star 170 here in Texas. It's Jordan Parker now on your screen as time is running out before the race gets on its way. Number 65 now in his own world, and you can see the concrete is wide. Texas Motor Speedway, many grooves with a PJ1 recently added to the circuit. It's a bit more narrow than it might seem. The drone shot might be a bit deceiving because you can see that 65 tries to stay down low. The darker concrete in this scan is the place to be. In the real world, the PJ1 is even darker than the preferred groove on iRacing. As it stands, only a total of 2 minutes remain on the board. It's Matthew Weeks who finds himself in the top spot. Only 2 drivers have taken a warm-up lap. Nobody else opting to go on. And that's a little surprising. This is an oval track. Usually more guys come on for that final segment. Well, that being said, it looks like our third has just arrived. Vinny Tigner now going to be on the way with the number 99 machine for GM Racing. And it's a nice glossy finish for that number 99 shining in the daylight as we get things going here in Texas. Matthew Weeks faster by a 10.5 over Jordan Parker. Now Vinny going to be on his way. These trucks have been troublesome in practice so far. Guys need to dial them in. It's not all about the speed with so few drivers. A top 10 is all but guaranteed if you outlast at least one driver on the track. You gotta be consistent with it as well. That's gonna be a big troublesome point for many drivers. We've seen quite a few go around spinning already tonight. The number 65, oh, no stranger to it. He's already taken 6 laps in practice so far and make that his 7th in this warm-up. Alexander Balderas now going to be on pit road. So is the number 11 machine, and that's Matthew Weeks. Weeks has taken laps. However, Balderas in that number 95 has not. He's going to be shown as a River Page on your screen all night long in his debut race. Not even going to go by his own name. River Page ran 1 race at Montreal, broadcasted a few with us at FTN, but unfortunately tonight he's not with us. That's the Balderas machine represented by Throttle Graphics and Designs. 30 seconds remain to get this one going. Only 3 have taken the time. Vinny Tigner goes into third, and all time running out to get any extra practice. Most drivers feel they have a good grip for it, so they won't go out. Now, we'll find out whether or not they are correct. Vinny Tigner about a 1/4 of a second off of even Jordan Parker. Can he improve this time by? It looks like he is bound to, but not quite sure how big that improvement will be. Checkered flag gonna fall on second warm-up. Vinny Tigner gonna still stay in third as Matthew Weeks is the fastest man in second practice. Now, on to the big show here in Texas. The Lone Star 170 makes its way to the starting grid. The drivers spawning from the circuit one last time. The crowd now packed in Texas, and it's Alec Daffin who leads them all off in this 113 lap showdown. Drivers getting ready to grid up and get going. The number 51 of Aaron Brown, as we mentioned, one and only race he'll be in this paint scheme to our knowledge. Rest of the field coming into play. Michael Deitch is on the grid now, and even though he has not taken a lap in practice, qualifying, or warm-up, he'll still be driving with us by the time the green flag falls. Could be a start and park on his end, trying to get some points. Not quite sure what the intention is, but he's here to stay nonetheless. Jordan Kuntz, the other man on your front row, right there with them. And it looks like Alec Daffin, the driver we're waiting on. Alec Daffin going to be starting in first. Jordan Kuntz is second. And to round out your first 3 drivers, we've got Vinny Tigner in the number 99. More than half the field already loaded in before we get this thing going. Jordan Parker, Balderas, Matthew Weeks, only waiting on a select few now, and more drivers form into the pack. 113 laps at Texas. It's a tricky track. Don't let its size and structure deceive you. It might look like a cookie cutter 1.5 mile track. there's many things that make it different. A bit more dynamic groove. You gotta really feel it out turn after turn. It's not as big a cycle. Things change on a lap-by-lap basis, and the drivers will react to it. That in mind, gotta make your move just right when the time calls for it. Jordan Kuntz has made his move up front, and now we're only waiting on your pole sitter, your man in third, Carter Casey as well, and finally, Kyle Jackson's small group that have not gone onto the grid, but with or without them, we'll get ready to say hello to the green flag in just 2 minutes notice. Looks like now drivers beginning to spawn in. Alec Daffin, your pole sitter, representing Fisher Studios and Shaw Racing. Right there, Al Carter Casey, the only man out of this grid. Carter Casey, who got it done at Talladega. Now, looking to get on the field. It looks like it's been an extended grid waiting for that number 1. However, when he's there, we'll get going immediately. We've got 11 drivers lined up out of the 12 who have gotten into this event. And now, the waits for one more. And as the motors continue to roar, all the anticipations built up to this moment, it is palpable. 17 races in, drivers fading in and out of championship contention, and the title battle is still far from over. Jordan Kuntz, the only guy who's been safe all season long, well, he's all but locked in, and now the rest of the field has to keep on battling. Alec Daffin's been strong in this playoff race. He has not, however, won a race this season. He's going to have to get lucky and get his only win of the season at Homestead, or hopefully break the barrier before then and maybe get a victory before the season finale. It would be close calling at this rate, but Daffin, who's been quick all season long, he has a runner-up finish in his bag in the playoffs. He just needs one more spot, and he'd be a race winner for the first time this season. It's just not gone his way just yet. He's been strong all season long, and he's looking to lead them off again. The grid is ready to get going. Alec Daffin will lead them through as the iRacing official pace car grabs a gear, this time by Let's Get Ready to Rumble here in Texas Motor Speedway, led by Daffin and Jordan Kuntz. And as the grid begins to roll away from the frame, only 2 drivers are staying. That's going to be both Basin and Deitch. Now they're off their screen, and Alec Daffin leading the field. Smaller field than what we've seen most weeks. Texas Motor Speedway, it might still be a bit too narrow with a driving groove that you've got to keep in mind. Perfection is necessary. Get anything out of this track, and if you don't have that optimal line, you'll just have to fall back and settle for what is next. Backstretch, all occupied. Every driver is there in frame, and we are getting ready for yet another fierce battle. Tires will be the name of the game again. Limited to about 70% on a tire and fuel run, so you'll have to burn them up and go back down to pit road if you want a chance to come home a winner. Alec Daffin, who knows this, will work his way down in once again. Any final thoughts will be had now before the race gets on its way here in Fort Worth, Texas. 113 laps, 170 miles, and the championship stakes are still in play. If you want to get into the Final Four and lock your way in, this could be a ticket to victory. Gotta play your cards right, though, to get that one done, and everything's bigger in Texas. The stakes are as high as they can get, and now as the pace car drives in, it's gonna be the green flag falling for the first time here in the Lone Star 170. Let's go racing from Texas Motor Speedway. as the first lap is complete, Alec Daffin slides away for the lead. It's now going to be Jordan Coots up in front as we got shuffling all throughout our pack. Double Zero Machine finds himself now out in front over Vinny Tigner there in second, and then Alexander Balderas, who's made his way up to third, but he'll be challenged by Alec Daffin. Daffin goes down low, Balderas stays high. The 95 machine has to concede and let the number 48 go right through. Balderas though going to stay on his back bumpers. They come down to the start finish line once again. It's the Double Zero leading once more, and Jordan Coots, the most dominant man in this series, lays a claim at the lead once more. Powered by Nitro, as you can see on your screen. He's here to do it once again for Proximity Racing, and now every driver has to chase him back down. Jordan Parker, an incident very early in the going. Truck seems to be injured, which is what we were going to say early on. It looks like things have gone bad. Bounced off the wall. Now on his way. 65 is still driving, but he's not going to be thriving. He's pretty far back on Michael Deitch and Chris Tripp. Deitch makes his way up to 11th as a result of that incident, as Jordan Coots leads the way. Now, no faster pairs in this league. You go what you got all night long, and if you can't handle that, well, that's a problem, because now it's going to be Coots down low and Vinny Tigner up high. Side by side for me. They could have taken it. They will not. It's going to be thinking better of it. Vinny Tigner does. He'll stay back and lay back, waiting for a better opportunity. Coming off the corner number 4, once again, it's going to be Vinny Tigner on the bumper. Nothing just yet. Coots leads him. Vinny Tigner now gets deep. He'll go down low, try to get a bit of a lunge on it. He does not make it stick. Trying to get to the inside line, almost gets it done, but it does not stick. It's going to be now Alec Daffin working his way off the backstretch, trying to get a bit of a draft. Alexander Balderas right there with him. Balderas watching this battle, and he's watching with a close eye. He's got to make sure that if something goes wrong, he can get right by it and not get caught up. Racing real close so far, and these are 3 playoff drivers out in front. And now Jordan Coots lets that low line go. It's going to be a big move down for the number 99 machine. Vinny Tigner takes the lead. Jordan Coots is there in second. Side by side they stay. 6 laps through. It's now the number 99 machine out in front, as it's going to be Jordan Coots laying on the outside line. Balderas almost sticks it a bit deeper that time through. He'll wait. Try to see if Alec Daffin makes a mistake. That he does not, and they'll keep going all over again. Tigner stays up high. Jordan Coots going to be in second even still. Now side by side, Aaron Brown and Carter Casey were, and even the number 009 machine of Dylan Basin beginning to claw back time. Basin so far is the fastest lap in this race. Once again, looking to do a last to first challenge here. He's a road-to-road driver. He's one of the best in the business when it comes to this combination. They saw this in the round 1 schedule, and if we were watching an FTN, this race was a barn burner. Texas Motor Speedway, always a fantastic track with these trucks, and as a matter of fact, the broadcaster of that event is here and right now fending off Aaron Brown for 4th. Balderas slots right back in. It's side by side for the lead even still. 8 laps through dead even. Jordan Coots almost has it that time by, but it's going to be Vinny Tigner taking it down the backstretch with a bit more momentum. Balderas now dives down low, gets the run on Jordan Coots. Daffin blocks him. They'll stay in the same order once again. Vinny Tigner making the high side work, is still working it as hard as he can, and as they come off of corner number 4, simply nothing can stop him just yet. Start finish line once again. Now 2 rows deep. Dylan Basin making moves, and he's on his high side run. He now got Alec Daffin in the sight as Alexander Balderas tries to cling to his quarter panel. Basin knows where it's out. When it comes to these ovals on these trucks, nobody is quicker. Dylan Basin, a playoff spoiler, has been fantastic so far in his limited starts all season. He drove an injured car, an injured truck, all the way up to the podium in Iowa. Did not get the win there. He got himself a victory at Darlington. Was the fastest man in practice at Watkins Glen. Ran the fastest lap of the entirety of the session there, and now on the high line on his own. He's faster than all but one of these drivers. He'll get by the worn-out Jordan Coots with easy. He can just get that momentum off the backstretch. He's close to getting it. Does not that time through. Now, it looks like he's all but clear. He'll wash up high just a bit more, get that diamond arc off the corner. Coming off of corner number 4 once again, Dylan Basin still has himself a battle with Vinny Tigner. Begins to break away once again. And now Vinny Tigner has himself a good battle right behind. Taking a look on that rear view camera, this is exactly what you want to see if you are a driver in this scenario. Drivers battling behind you, but it looks like Dylan Basin even still got right through. This is going to be troublesome for Tigner. It's evident that Dylan Basin simply has a bit more knowledge about these trucks than any other driver. He's been in the game for quite some time on iRacing, and it shows lap after lap. He's one of the best drivers in the business in these trucks in the Oval Series in its entirety as well. And now he's laying claim to the lead. He's just got to get a bit closer. 0.2 of a second the gap is. Last time by identical laps between both Tigner and Basin. However, Dylan does have that draft and he can use it to his advantage as long as he'd like. This is where the battle begins to brew. Number 009 right there in second. Vinny Tigner still your leader as they come through. Once again, making a baker's dozen. Now going to be 101 laps to go, and it's racing 101 for Vinny Tigner. Stay in the lead. He's got himself a healthy gap, healthy enough to maintain it for a little while. That time by, though, was Basin still a bit quicker. Not by much, but still a noticeable gap. And as they get closer and the draft begins to get more intense, that distance will shorten. And as it gets shorter and shorter, the number 23 will continue to get right up there. And however the case, Vinny Tigner will have to keep on defending. Aaron Brown gets by a multitude of drivers. He's now going to be in 5th. And inside the top 5, he's got many drivers still trying to get in there with him. Matthew Weeks, one of which, Carter Casey there as well. And the 1 and the 11 continuing to fight as hard as they can to get into top 5 contention. Right now, Casey in the back foot of that one. And Matthew Weeks right there as well. The number 11 machine of Matthew Weeks looking to become a top 4 driver in this series as a rookie. Of course, many good rookies this season, including, of course, that Jordan Kuntz machine out in front. Dylan Basin looks to be a first-timer this season as well. He's looking real good. However, that number 11 machine has been an underdog story all season long. Not as dominant as Jordan Kuntz. However, he is still a multi-time winner, and he's been fast in every event that we have had. So keep an eye out for him right now. Is not shutting down. There's only a total of 7 drivers in your main pack at the moment. Then you go back to Balderas, who burnt out his stuff. Now has Chris Tripp right there on him. And Tripp now finds himself alone in 9th. A second ahead of Kyle Jackson. Jackson's in 10th. Michael Deitch is gaining back on him in the number 44 machine. And then there's Jordan Parker on his lonesome, 12 seconds back. Looking up in front, though, 16 laps through. It's going to be Vinny Tigner up in front with the number 009. Dylan Basin has maintained a healthy distance. It looks like he's going to stay in that back pocket, 0.2 of a second away, and wait for strategy to strike on the short run. And simply quick, he still is. It's going to be Dylan Basin out in front with Vinny Tigner still leading them. Top 2 guys continue their battle. It has been persistent all night long from the best of the best in the Stock Car Racing League. 17 laps through, we keep it going. Jordan Kuntz going to be in 3rd, and Alec Daffin is right there in 4th. Brown is in 5th, finding himself in close contention with Matthew Weeks here as they work their way through the turns. Once again, it's now Carter Casey there in 7th. The battle has stayed the same, however, and while we thought that Dylan Basin might have had the moves to get out in front with force, remained distant by about 0.2 of a second, simply not able to make the gains that he expected originally, and he'll have to lay back in the second spot for now. A 1.5 seconds separate your top 2 drivers. Then there's going to be Jordan Kuntz in 3rd, Alec Daffin in 4th, and Aaron Brown in position number 5. Matthew Weeks going to be 6th at the moment. They're all single file, and it looks like the game plan already is to wait for that first cycle of pit stops. And if that is the case, well, we're seeing it right now. Every driver biding their time and logging their laps. We've got quite a lot of time in this event, and the way things are going with so few drivers around one another, a caution is not to be expected. So these guys will not push as hard as they could. They'll simply stay together without much hesitation. Driving through lap after lap, not much more to worry about besides that. And Vinny Tigner right now finds himself up in front with Dylan Basin. These two have nothing to worry about as they're gaining a gap on Jordan Kuntz and Alec Daffin. Top 7 guys are still within 1.5 seconds of one another. Then there's a 2-second gap to Alexander Balderas. Balderas does still lead Chris Tripp in their battle. Then Michael Deitch got by the number 96. He's in 10th, and Jackson is in 11th. All your drivers are still within a half lap of one another, all 15 of which it is not. It's all 12 of which tonight, and the 99 even then, your leader, and a phenomenal drive it's been for Vinny Tigner thus far. Dylan Basin starting just about dead last to drive all the way up has been a great story, but it looks like for now he will not be able to finish this job without one more battle. He'll need strategy to come back to him, and it'll have to come back very well. 22 laps through, it has not fallen in his favor, but he'll just have to hold on and find out what he's got in the later portion. 22 laps is not a big indicator of what it's going to be later on, and it still shows as these drivers battle each other side by side. Back of the field, it's going to be Chris Tripp going for the 8th spot up high. Bob Barris is in a bit of trouble in his hometown. River Page is the account it looks that he's on, but it is Balderas now in 9th. Fading out of order, number 95 machine is now there in 9th. Michael Deitch gaining in fast, as last time by it was Balderas, one of only 2 drivers outside the 31-second mark. And as we say that, Michael Deitch disconnects, and now there's trouble for the number 44. He was gaining on that number 95, but now he's disconnected, and it looks like he's down and out. Jordan Parker gets by him, so does Kyle Jackson, and now it's going to be up to Jackson to get to Balderas. Now, as we were saying, River Page, the number 95 machine, is driven actually tonight not by Page, but Balderas. Just ran a 31.826, which is just about the slowest lap any driver's taken beside Jordan Parker. So while Jackson is still pretty far away, he's quicker and might be able to make some time up, as it could be double digits for the number 95 on debut. Vinny Tigner out in front, leads the way at 24 through, however, and it's going to be Dylan Basin still 2/10 adrift. Closest battle on the racing circuit is this top 2 battle. They've stayed in a bunch all night long, and it appears they will continue to be that way until your first pit stops come, and they're coming very soon. Certainly no way they're going to go much longer than 15 laps on this one. If they go 40, it could be a 3-stop race at the very most. That might be the way these guys want to have it, and it might be the best for every one of these drivers. Currently though, nothing is for certain, as now it's going to be Basin driving up high, trying to get a bit of a different exit. Does not work, and Carter Casey comes down a pit road for the first pit stop of the night. 25 laps in, that's an awful short time. He's in first, and the rest of the field will have to follow. Basin down low for the lead, though. It looks like it's going to work out. He's got a good run of momentum, and surging down on the stretch. He stayed back, and it looks like he almost got it. No cigar. Vinny Tigner still leads the way and finds himself out in front over Dylan Basin and Jordan Kuntz. Top guys are going to be right now in a bunch. Jordan Kuntz gaining more time once again. And just when we thought the 00 was passed for good, he comes right back. Don't count out Jordan Kuntz. He's still here fighting for that checkered flag, powered by that nitro. He's putting down the boosters, and he's finding himself now in the podium battle all the same. It's, however, the number 99 machine who leads the way. Vinny Tigner up in front. Dylan Basin tried to get it, and he's taking a bit of a different approach once again. Right on board with Basin. See how it's done as he goes down to the inside line, tries to peek in. He's going to get low, and now there's a chance. Dylan Basin down low and down in. It's going to be a nice groove for that number 009, and he gets out in front. That's the move he wished to make before. He gets it, and it could be a crossover down the backstretch as Vinny Tigner does indeed get that run right back. He gets it for 1/2 lap and loses it for another. They're swapping this lead back and forth like it's nothing. Effortless for these two drivers at the peak of their power. And now 28 laps through at the line, it's going to be just barely Dylan Basin who does score that lap lead, but it is Tigner who still has the opportunity to come down low and dive it in once more. But it looks like that power is gone. It's going to be Vinny Tigner out in front, and it's going to be Chris Tripp down and in. Tripp dives in from the 8th spot on the board. He stays there, and now Jordan Parker looks to stay out, trying to get some more time and hopefully bank on a yellow flag that is not expected to come. Dylan Basin, it's not been as dominant as Darlington, but he nonetheless gets that lead with force, and now finds himself up in front, just barely over Vinny. It's going to be Vinny Tigner now in second, and Jordan Kuntz in third. Alec Daffin remains there in fourth, holding tough. The top 5 are still within half a second of one another. If we don't count Aaron Brown, Brown's 1.5 seconds away. It's the top 4 now in 5/10. Working their way down the back. It's a small pack, but a very fierce pack as Vinny goes down low once again to try to get a drive off. It does not work. Delays claim of the lead, does not take it. He'll think better of it and remain with the force as Aaron Brown comes down to pit road and gets it all settled down. He's going to be in 6th, and it's going to be Dylan Basin now leading with fewer and fewer staying in this pack. Alexander Belair is going to advance up into 6th. As a result, Michael Deitch down and out, 8 laps down. He's going to be your only retiree so far due to an internet disconnection. Aaron Brown has come down to pit road and is in to his stall very far on the outside line. Got a bit lucky there, but he's still going without much of an issue. Now, Basin leads them through once again. It's Vinny Tigner fighting for second. It's going to be Jordan Kuntz having a shot at the inside line, and he will take it. Alec Daffin going to be sure to try to get some seconds on that one, and he's right there as well. Alec Daffin trying to rock the number 99 once again. They're almost going to go 3 wide there. It's going to be a big drive down low for the 0-0. Keeps it in 2nd spot. Vinny Tigner gets really close to making something happen, but it's not going to be a lot. Now Daffin does drive up high. He's got speed and he's got power. Coming off of corner number 4 once again. Dylan Basin leads by now over 6/10, but the battle for second rages on. 33 laps in, the drivers up in front remain in this without much of a problem. They are going to be going a bit longer on their cycle compared to the other drivers we saw going very early, and now strategies are already separate. Some guys choosing a short pit very early to try to get it going at the end of the run, end of the race. These 3 up in front and these 4 counting your leader are thinking of it a bit differently. Short pit later, long pit to start. Gonna be now a big drive in. Now Jordan Parker gonna be right there with Basin, Kuntz, and the number 99 of Vinny Tigner. It's Alec Daffin, Matthew Weeks, and Alexander Balderas to remain out in front as the number 48 machine leads the way, 34 laps in. Now Balderas finds himself the last man on the podium. It's the number 11 machine of Matthew Weeks there in 2nd. Finds himself with another driver who's a lap down. That's going to be Carter Casey. And now it is Alec Daffin in full control of when he comes down. He does this time by making the 34th lap of competition. Daffin's in, makes it in quite easily. Now Matthew Weeks leads, and it's going to be Balderas who stays in the running. He's going to be in 2nd after this one. Gets almost in the grass that time by. He's manhandling this machine. The 95 Ford F-150 has a bit of trouble, but he's still going despite all that he has faced. Driving up through the field. Now only 4 drivers remain on the lead lap, and now Matthew Weeks is set to go down the pit road. Does he take it this time by? It looks like that will. It's going to be Matthew Weeks down and in. Alexander Balderas, he's going to choose, it looks like, to stay out on the circuit, or will he? It looks like he will indeed. Slower exit off corner, but nonetheless, it's going to be Balderas who leads the way, and only just the number 95 gets that lap. Matthew Weeks comes down and in. 36 laps in, the only debutant of this race now finds himself the race leader, and he looks to be running out of fuel. He's going down to speeds of 137 miles an hour. I think he's out. 132 down the stretch. He's running out of fuel, and he's trying to make it down a pit road. Alexander Balderas leads a lap, but he now is in trouble. He's got nothing. He's on the clutch pedal. It's certain. Let's ride on board and hear it. He's got nothing. There is nothing in this number 95. He's going to limp it down a pit road, and this is going to cost him so much. Comes in at 60 miles an hour. He comes in at 45 miles an hour. Will he make it? It's going to be a close call. Carter Casey will be the leader now, but it looks like Balderas is going at a speed of 36 down a pit road. He runs out of fuel trying to lead a lap, and now he'll find himself 1 lap off a cycle. Oh boy, this one is going to be heartbreak for the Houston kid. He comes down and in, and he's going to limp it to pit road. So far off the pace, it looks like he'll make it. Carter Casey is your leader nonetheless, and he's up in front by 5 seconds over the rest of the field. Aaron Brown is in 2nd. It's Dylan Basin in 3rd, and we're going to have to check in on that number 95. I can't believe he even made it in. He was out of fuel for almost 1 full lap, and he is indeed 1 lap down. Now he'll be coming off a pit exit and pushing the pedal to the metal. Now he'll be right behind your main pack. Carter Casey out in front. Dylan Basin is going to be side by side for the 2nd. Gets it over Brown. Aaron Brown gets all the way sent up high. Jordan Kuntz stays there in the middle of it. And now it's going to be a 3-car battle for the runner-up spot with a different face in the mix. That's the number 51 machine. Aaron Brown stays tucked in. We'll see how longer he lasts. It could be much longer. It could be not much longer. All depends on what he's got inside that truck that we don't know. Carter Casey going to be out in front, though, and it's by 4 seconds now as one man comes off pit road. That's going to be Jordan Parker, 5 laps down, finishing this one at the very best inside the top 10. Paul Barris 1 lap down, so 2 drivers who are still racing are outside the lead lap. 9 drivers remain on your lead lap, with Balderas being the man who just was your leader 3 laps ago. He's in trouble, and he's going to have to push it very hard to have any opportunity to get back in it, as he's way behind the leading pack overall. It's Carter Casey by 3.7 seconds up in front. Then Jordan Coots in second, with Dylan Basin in third. Basin on that back bumper. Use Jordan Coots up and then go from there to try to get back up to your leaders. And now the 3-car packs are forming. Nobody going side by side just yet. Patience is key in a situation just like this. The tire strategies are oh so different. Every driver seems to come at a different lap, and now the divide is shown. While Carter Casey has ran 15 laps on his stint, running it a bit longer to try to get an advantage early, they'll be clawed in and clawed down. Just like that. That time by, he ran a 31.171. It was Jordan Coots who ran a 30.689. And now, with a half a second being cut down each and every lap, it becomes a difference in strategy and preference that would determine the race victory. And this could go down to the final stretch. We have seen strategic races in this league countless times before, and this could be one again. 42 laps through, Jordan Coots lays it down and easy once again, and it's going to be Dylan Basin in that back pocket using the exact same strategy. This number 23, no stranger to letting other drivers do his work, and it looks to be a very successful strategy. Once again, the number 23 finds himself right there in touching distance. Closest battle on the track, you are watching it right now. However, there's one getting a bit closer. It's Vinny Tigner and Alec Daffin. Daffin came down a pit road just a lap before Tigner. However, it looks like Vinny might be quicker, as last time by he gained about a 1/10 of a second on the number 48 machine for Shaw Racing. GM Racing, one of the staple teams as well in this league, alongside those such as Shaw Racing and Lax Parker Racing. Now that number 99 trying to carry the torch and get yet another position. It would be major, as these two are battling for the spots in the Championship 4 that are not locked up. Alec Daffin, not a winner this season. He's been on the back foot all this year, now trying to find himself in victory lane by the end of it. 44 laps in, however, the number 1 is not up here in this mix. He's leader overall by 1 second, and 44 laps in, he's being chased down by just about the entirety of this. Jordan Coots in the 00 machine with him there in second. Dylan Basin is in third. Aaron Brown is in fourth. And Alec Daffin is in fifth. Vinny Tigner position number 6 as Chris Tripp is in seventh. They all remain in formation, but it's getting close now. It's going to be Jordan Parker not in this mix as Jordan Coots, who does lose a spot. Dylan Basin goes down low. And now that the leader's in sight, Basin puts on the attack mode, and he's going to use up Jordan Coots for what he is worth. Down low, backstretch, he's got him once again. A textbook Basin move will have him now in the catbird seat to get the lead, getting right by Jordan Coots, and all the aggression that he had will expire. Carter Casey now in trouble as well, as Chris Tripp fades back on pace. Tripp looks to get routed up that time by, as Alexander Balderas gets by both of them. Let's see if that's an incident. I am not quite sure. Not all too much going on the track, so it's worth a shot to take a look back on an FTN official replay. Looks like Tripp actually just shook himself up, and that number 9 machine's gonna let them all go. Now it's Chris in 8th, Matthew Weeks in 7th as we go right back to live feed. It's the number 23 machine out in front with Jordan Coots in 2nd and Carter Casey now in 3rd. And just like that, the strategy of this race has been led by the number 009 on your timing and scoring. 13 lap stint for him. Looks like going long and going strong is the way to go. The short pit does not seem to work out in the long run, at least for the moment. The mathematical conundrum is in effect again, and some guys want to go for that checkered flag lap, others want to lead the most laps, and the divide is showing once again. Balderas is gaining time now. He's going to be on Matthew Weeks' quarter panel, and Weeks has himself ran up high. Balderas on that back bumper. They're close. Now, mind you, Balderas is the lap machine. He is not racing for the lead here, but he's getting very, very close to yet another opportunity. Shoves it in once again for the throttle graphics and design machine. tries to put it in. Maybe that was by design, but it does not work that time through. Matthew Weeks still has him chasing, and it's going to be side by side for another bunch of drivers. That's going to be Carter Casey and Vinny Tigner. Now Vinny Tigner gets by that number 1 machine pretty effectively. Carter Casey ran that short pit strategy, loses yet another spot, and finds himself all out of sorts. Dylan Basin leads the way, but now it's going to be multiple cars chasing him. Jordan Kuntz, one of which Alec Daffin is as well, and they're all working the way down and in, as it looks like Alexander Balderas does not get by Matthew Weeks. Now, Weeks is on an older set of tires, so it's a bit of a shock that he held on quite well, but it looks like Balderas might be drilling through his stuff once again, and that was the kryptonite to his most recent run. Went very long, and he went as hard as he could on the tire, and he gets on the grass once again. He's gone there one too many times, and doing it once more just makes it a bit harder to control that machine for more time. Carter Casey is in once again. Short pitting it for the second time, and Casey goes through 50 laps in. Dylan Basin is your leader. Dylan Basin out in front finds himself the leader. Make it lap number 51. It has been all about the 009 and the 00. Both of these two have been oh so dominant so far. Simply nobody on their level just yet. Alec Daffin finds himself laying back in third, looking good as well. But it is those top two guys so far away. They're in their own zip code right now. Fort Worth, Texas, making a new breakaway here. These two drivers within 0.2 of a second. Then you'll have to go back 2 seconds to find Alec Daffin. That's how good they both are. Dylan Basin simply has that one up for now, and Jordan Kuntz is laying back and learning, trying to find out if there's any advantage he can make in due time. However, it looks like he's not gotten anywhere just yet, and Vinny Tigner, likewise on Alec Daffin, has not been able to make it work in the long run. He was quicker before when he checked on them, but now they're dead even, and if not, it is Vinny Tigner who is a bit slower. Lap in and lap out. So with that change in pace in mind, it could be the number 48 machine coming into his own in a good way, as the number 48 works it in and out once again, lap after lap, getting a bit quicker and a bit more quick time. 53 laps in now, it's Dylan Basin out in front, quite well, with Jordan Kuntz there in second. Top two guys in their own realm. Then there's Matthew Weeks now battling again with the lap machine of Balderas. Alexander Balderas will not leave this man alone. 95 machine still has some speed, but not in the right spot to show it. Getting caught one lap down as a result of some mismanaged tire strategy. He finds himself now one down, ran out of fuel, and that is all she wrote. The tires and the fuel both playing into his demise so far, but he is right there on pace, and there's room for improvement. He'll dive it deep once again, does not get a piece of it. It's going to be Matthew Weeks there in the 6th spot. It in a good fashion. Rookie stripes on that number 11. He's running well enough, though, to chase down Aaron Brown, and it could be a pickoff with Alexander Balderas right there. If that number 95 can get through first, which it does not look like he will, it could have been easier for Matthew Weeks, but he'll have to fight it the hard way. 51 machine goes right up high. Aaron Brown getting pressured outside of his groove, and now he'll find himself slotted up high for not one but two drivers. That number 95 lays it deep once again, and this time it does look to help the number 11 machine. Matthew Weeks easily gets it into that 5th spot, and Aaron Brown will have to continue on the backstretch without much room. 95, though, will have to let him go, and that he does. Now Aaron Brown has an opportunity to fight for it once again, as the 51 gets right back to the back bumper, and they continue the battle for the top 5 spots here in Texas. 56 laps in, and it is that number 009 machine of Dylan Basin out in front. 58 laps to go. Lap 57 coming up next, and the cross flags will wave then in this 113 lap showdown. Basin has been phenomenal once again, pulling his weight and then some at Darlington. He came home with a dominating victory, and he is no stranger to putting together performances like an ace. Tonight could be yet another on the win catalog. Win number 2 is just halfway away. 57 laps in, 57 laps to go. We're coming at a crunch time here. One more pit stop is expected before the final segment. It's been a 23-lap stint for the number 009, and he's going to come down at about the lap number 30 mark. He goes a bit longer than the guy like Carter Casey. Casey, one lap down at the moment, is being raced by Alexander Balderas, and raced pretty close. They're within 1 second now. It looks like Matthew Weeks is going to be able to get away from it, and Aaron Brown even gets a bit of a gap. now the number 55, who was a 95 tonight. It's a bit of a change in number for this kid. He finds himself in 10th, getting raced by each and every driver, and Chris Tripp makes it in this time through. He'll race himself down and in. He'll be the second man through. Different strategies showing different results. Now Dylan Basin might have to think about going in a bit earlier. One short pit required in this race. Make it even. It will be dicey to go without that short pit. Maybe the 009 can build enough of an advantage to go without, but it will be unlikely even with how dominant he has been. Trip down on pit road. He's on his lonesome, fading back. He'll go down at our 10th spot, letting Balderas go right by him. He'll go one lap down, and now with a 1 second advance, 59 laps in, the average run for the 009 machine has been about 30 laps apiece. Kyle Jackson makes it in this time through in a 30-lap stint, and he'll be coming in at lap number 60 when the leader gets by the stripe this time around. He makes it in, make that lap number 60, and now the number 009 sees Alec Daffin in third. Blink for just a moment, but he still races. Good to see that he is not in any trouble. Jordan Kuntz going to be in second. Alec Daffin's in third. Vinny Tigner's in fourth, and Matthew Weeks is in fifth. Top 5 guys within 6 seconds. 6 guys on the lead lap. Going back to Aaron Brown, who's in the 6th spot. The rest of the field continues to contend outside the lead lap. They'll keep on driving until the checkered flag falls. Dylan Basin out in front, 61 laps in, 53 laps to go. How about we take a lap on board uninterrupted with your race leader, Dylan Basin. And Dylan Basin working his way down the backstretch. That time by was 1/10 of a second faster than the man in second in Jordan Kuntz. He was not even close that time by. He continues to gain as Matthew Weeks goes down to pit road once again. Aaron Brown has just come out. He'll cycle out to the 8th spot. Alexander Balderas gets right by him, and now the number 95 machine makes his way just outside the top 5. We'll see how much longer he goes on this stint. He ran it all the way until this machine was on fumes. His Ford F-151 was on that first stint, and his F-150 now looks to be a bit slower. Once again, going at a speed of 154 miles an hour, picks it up once again. Last time by was about as dead even as you can get to your race leader. However, he is on a much younger set. Dylan Basin leads the way, and he's got himself covered pretty well. 50 laps to go in that number 23 on your screen. Jordan Kuntz now getting battled, but that's not going to be for position. That's Carter Casey, who is a lap machine, looking to get that lap back. Kyle Jackson almost hits that Jordan Kuntz machine. Boy, oh boy, that could have been trouble indeed. Jackson, quick thinking, keeps him out of a big incident. My, oh my, that could have been disastrous, and luckily it was not. Instant replay of Jackson prevailing the inside line, making up his time, and looking good while doing so in the outside machine. And it could have been a quarter panel once he lets off, thankfully, before getting that recovery in. That will save him from losing the race and almost causing our first caution of the night. Just like that, we're back out in front with Dylan Basin leading 31 laps into his stint. And it now seems like he's going to run this one as long as he can. It looks like the mathematical longest you can go is about 35 laps. Basin slides that time, but he's not in trouble. Matthew Weeks looks to be on the fastest pace he's been all night long as Vinny Tigner comes down to pit road after a 31 lap run. He'll make his way through. Dylan Basin now going to be in jeopardy. He'll be in the hot seat to come down to pit road. It has been 32 laps for him, and his average run now comes out to about 33 laps apiece. That's almost breaking this race up into quarters, just a few too little when it comes to lap count to do just that. And it's going to be a bit of a longer run this time by for the number 009 as he goes to lap number 67 on this stint. Once again, it's going to be Jordan Kuntz now 2 seconds back as Alec Daffin's about a half a second away. Only 3 drivers remain temporarily on that lead lap. Rest of your field, at least 1, lap down. Kyle Jackson, as a result of that incident, goes 2 laps down, and it's going to be Jordan Parker 5 laps down as Balderas cycles up into 5th while being erased by Matthew Weeks. Once again, Weeks is, however, faster, and he's going to get an easy opportunity to go down and in as Dylan Basin comes down to pit road. Weeks gets the spot and gets it quite easy. Number 95 machine has to concede that time by. Now Daffin leads as Basin and Jordan Coots come in. Number 48 goes long once again. It's going to be his 34th lap this time by for the number 48 machine. Just like that, 46 laps remaining. The final run is in mind for each and every one of these drivers. Now could be the time to see that short pit that we mentioned. It will be risky to go all the way until the final 10-lap dash. It's possible, but I don't believe it'll be probable. We're going to be a bit of smoke for Dylan Basin to come right off the track as soon as Alec Daffin made it in. Now it looks to be Carter Casey cycling back to the lead. Kyle Jackson going to be able to get 1 lap back on this run, and it will be good for him as Balderas comes down to pit road, not risking it this time by, and it's going to be a much shorter 30-lap run to keep him on the same pace as your leading drivers. Alec Daffin is in this time through, and Carter Casey coming by to get that race lead will do so at number 69. Nice race so far. No yellow flag out at the moment. It looks like we won't see it. All green, all clean in the Lone Star 170. It has been all about patience and only one retiree all night long. Michael Deitch, who's down to the 12th spot at the moment, keeps himself out of the racing picture. The rest of these guys are driving with their hearts hard on their sleeve racing. It's going to be Carter Casey with a 6-second advantage, but once again, a risky strategy for him. He has a 19-lap stint compared to the Matthew Weeks stint that's only 7 laps, and he's gained on about a second every time around. So he will be caught by the time he comes down to pit road once again. Different strategy for this number 1 machine. Whether or not it works out remains to be seen. It's a risk, but with the position he's in, it might be worth taking. Jordan Parker down low this time by, makes it in his number 65, and he'll come in without much an issue. Carter Casey, though, going to be without much an issue as well, coming through. It's that number 65 just on pit road, and the number 1 just within touching distance of the 96. 5 seconds away. Matthew Weeks is, as he's got many drivers chasing. Half a second back on him. It is Dylan Basin and Jordan Coots at 1.5 seconds of back on both of these drivers. All of these drivers in close contention for the race lead at one point or another, but right now they're all pretty far off of the leader. They have to keep on gaining, though. That's the way it goes, and with 71 laps already in the books, only place to go from here is up. Carter Casey leads 72 strong. Jordan Parker now getting back on his way off pit road, and only 2 drivers remain on a lap down pace. Balderas in trouble, and it looks like he's coming out of pit road once again. A little bit of an issue for him. It looks to be some damage, and he'll make it in once more. Let's take a quick look back, find out what happened as Balderas has some damage once again. Taking a quick look, he gets a scrape off the backstretch, and he'll come down to pit road. Looks like that might be the night for this man in the number 95. Texas Motor Speedway, a bit too tricky for him, and the Houston native now comes in once more. He's 2 laps down, and it looks like that could be the night. The steering wheel is all centered, and he has just left the truck. The number 95, done and done, 73 laps in. Gonna be problems and trouble at the same time as Carter Casey leads the way. He'll put another man multiple laps down. Jordan Parker might be set for a top 10 finish after all. And with 40 laps remaining, it's a big shift in the order for the bottom half of the field. Nonetheless, the battle persists. Jordan Coots is now in the 3rd spot. Dylan Basin is in 2nd, but he taps the wall that time by so close to danger. And it's going to be side by side between Jordan Parker and Matthew Weeks. That time through, no battle for position, however, but Jordan Parker now knows a top 10 could be on the line, and it could be good for him to get that spot. He's going to have to race as hard as he can for the next few laps. Balderas might not be done. He's still on the track waiting for his damage to be repaired, but that number 1 machine of Carter Casey waiting for Dylan Basin to catch him. 25 laps in, and it's going to be an easy pass for that number 009 machine. Basin goes down, he goes in, and he goes away easily. Gets the pass done with 39 remaining. Dylan Basin now leads him in to lap number 76 and leads him out of lap number 75. Leading is going to be easy for Dylan Basin once again as he gets the spot right back and now finds himself up in front with 38 laps remaining. Jordan Kuntz right now finds himself in the third spot, getting by Carter Casey, looking to get into the runner-up position. And for Kuntz, of all the drivers in championship contention, he's had the best race, and that is no small feat given all the uncertainty in the championship battle. A driver like Dylan Basin, while not being in the playoff battle, has been the best driver in this final stretch. And with that being in mind, winning might be off the table. It's been hard for every driver to get a win ever since Basin came into this field. And while some drivers have been able to beat him on pace, it has been very, very infrequent. Now Dylan leads by over a second. Jordan Kuntz is going to have to keep settling for more and more position in front of his adversaries for the championship battle, as Carter Casey is in third, Matthew Weeks is in fourth, and Alec Daffin is in fifth. The saving grace for Davin is he's made every race of the playoffs, knowing this is his final opportunity to get a championship win in this league, and he will just have to drive until it is all over. And when the checkered flag flies for the season finale, he'll know that he has done his job. He's done a job very well thus far. He now makes his way in to position number 3, getting right by Carter Casey. Podium bound Alec Daffin is, and it looks like with 36 laps to go, gets that spot quite easily. 79 it is now for the Dylan Basin machine. Jordan Kuntz is going to be in second, and it's going to be Alec Daffin in third. Top 3 guys all remain in the same order, and now 3 drivers 1 lap down. Kyle Jackson now going to be put 1 down on pace by Basin. Jordan Parker 6 laps down, and Alexander Balderas is still now 8 laps down in the number 95. And a big battle in the field as we saw it. We panned away from it and we'll come right back. It looks like Vinny Tigner gets right by the driver in that number 11. Matthew Weeks is going to be now put down to 5th as Vinny Tigner makes his way up into 4th. Battle just inside the top 5 as Carter Casey comes out of pit road. And Casey, after a 29-lap stint, has his longest of the night so far. 1 4 run for the man in this number 1 machine, and he'll try to get this alternate strategy up to the front of the field. Dylan Basin in the way with 34 laps remaining, knows one more stint is in mind. He would have to come down to pit road at least once more to get to the checkered flag in good standing. He got himself a good lead right now to work off of, so even if there is a bit of a mishap down on pit road, we'll be able to recover. Fastest pit stop on the cycle last time by was held by the driver in the 00 machine of Jordan Kuntz, 0.4 of a second faster on pit road. Time on pit road was a 38.6 compared to a 39 flat second mark for Dylan Basin. Slowest time on pit road for any driver in the cycle is Chris Tripp. He has spent a total of 41.7 seconds on pit road, 17 seconds on pit box. Well, the 90 machine's pit box alone, and it was the Dylan Basin machine who spent a low of 14.8. It was actually an all-time low in this session, a 14.3, ran by Vinny Tigner to his pit box and out again. Pit strategy has been make or break, and Basin overall has been one of the quickest, but his speed on the track has gotten him up in front, a major advantage. Dylan Basin leads the way, going to be Jordan Kuntz in second, Alec Daffin there in third. Top 3 drivers still fighting, and now it's going to be Jordan Kuntz right in front of both the 96 and the 65. Jackson down onto the grass once again as Jordan Parker begins to put down some pressure to try to get some time back on everyone right in front. The 96 is going to be passed once again, not for position, but Jordan Parker, once again, a consistent top 10 run, exactly what he needs right now, and ever more impressive when you think about the equipment that this man is working on. Jordan Parker in the number 65 is driving using a Thrustmaster T80, and for those who know, it's a bit of a troublesome wheel with a bit of a effect on it in manufacturing. It becomes harder and harder to use the pedals and the steering wheel correctly, and while he has gotten himself a replacement for next season, he will tough it out with the equipment he has. As now down low, Kyle Jackson goes, and Jackson makes it in effectively with 30 laps to go. 30 now remain on the board as Dylan Basin makes it less than that. He's got a real big advantage as they come through the stripe once again. Texas Motor Speedway on its feet for Dylan Basin, who has had yet another phenomenal performance. He may have not run away like he did at Darlington, but he has still been far and away the best guy by a head and shoulders margin. And now with his own driving field of vision, just has to worry about what he does each and every time around. A solid drive once again, exactly what he needs, as Jordan Kuntz on his lonesome finds himself ahead of a battle between Aaron Brown and Chris Tripp. Now Aaron Brown within 1 second of being passed last time by. He was quicker though, so gaining some more time on Chris Tripp is the way it's gone. But Brown might have burnt out his stuff tonight in that number 51 machine. Aaron Brown is. And for proximity racing, in close proximity to the checkered flag. 86 laps through, and Brown getting his first podium in quite some time last week at Kansas. It is good to see that Brown is back in the right frame of mind, but a bit of an unlucky turn of event throughout the majority of this season. Most of the way been in trouble, but now getting back on the right foot is the biggest step to perhaps a Final Four berth. Late in the going, 87 laps in, late in the going, it is Dylan Basin with a dominant run, as right behind him it is Jordan Kuntz 2 seconds adrift. Then Alec Daffin now being fending off this number 65 in the 10th spot. It looks like Parker might be clear. No, he's not. He'll stay right there in tow, learning from the best of the best in that number 48 machine. Daffin an 18-lap board run while Jordan Parker's on a 15-lap board run. It looks like Parker fades a bit that time by, but let the number 48 through without any issue. Jordan Parker now going to be in 10th as Kyle Jackson is in 9th, 2 laps down. Carter Casey is in 8th, 1 lap down, and he will cycle back to the lead lap whenever the pit cycle is back on its way. Hopefully, for his case, it'll be sometime soon. It's sure to happen in the next 15 laps of racing. The final stretch is getting closer and closer to the Lone Star 170. No yellow flag has flown all night long, much like what we saw last week at Kansas, and tonight again we see close calls in the racing, but not as many as usual. 25 laps to go. It's still been clean and green for Dylan Basin and his number 23 machine. Domination never is this exciting unless Dylan Basin is at the helm, and it's evident that he is driving with all his might. Lap after lap from last in the field, besides Michael Knight starting in the final row. He drove his way all the way through the first 20 laps, and he stayed up in front ever since. 170 miles of Texas, and he has been the best driver bar none. And now looking to raise the bar higher on yet another great performance for the number 009. Down low, Matthew Weeks takes him. Vinny Tigner gonna make it into that number 4 slot. And Matthew Weeks with a 27-lap run, signifying the beginning of the end for the penultimate run and the beginning indeed for the final. Now drivers beginning to prepare to come down to pit road one more time, the most important time, as lap number 90 concludes, making it 23 laps to go for your leader and the remainder of the field right behind him. And with 23 laps to go, let's get the hype up in the 1 lap margin we've got. With 22 to go, we're going to crank it up courtesy of Track Cams for Gordon. It's TrackCams22.com, the best cameras on the iRacing platform, and they're bringing the views week after week on FTN, and we hope you enjoy seeing it as much as we enjoy using them. Track Cams for Gorman's, the best cameras on iRacing. Let's crank it up with 22 laps to go, courtesy of TrackCams22.com. And as they come down with 19 laps to go, your leaders come in, and it's going to be both Dylan Basin and Jordan Kuntz right with one another, chasing each other fiercely in. And it looks like Jordan Parker with a race-ending incident. Let's find out just what happened live on FTN. We'll take an instant replay and be right back. Let's first take a look at the incident in mind. In the 65, Jordan Parker for Fisher Studios finds himself down on pit road, and this is when he came down to pit road. We're replaying it even further to see what the situation was in specific, and it looks like this is even by the time he came down. So my oh my, this happened quite early in turn. Crank it up, let's go through. Once again, Parker coming through 1 and 2 on your screen for that number 65 operation. Finds himself in the wall, and he found himself in the wall on the first lap, and it looks like it could have been a replica of that incident once again. The 65 gets the wall down the back, and that looks to be the race sender, just compounding incidents for this number 65. Still a top 10 finish nonetheless, but not the way you would like it to end. With 17 remaining, let's go right back up live. Jordan Parker sees that Alec Daffin goes in now from the lead. Daffin's through. Carter Casey is coming around to take the lead once again. 97 laps in. Alec Daffin's 29 lap stint is over. Dylan Basin finds himself now closing in though, and it looks like for Casey, this is not the strategy to beat. My oh my, Dylan Basin has built such a gap, it looks like it is possible to get the lead despite all that Carter Casey has done. How about this? The number 1 machine of Casey takes the lead. Daffin's going to be now on his way, getting right out of his fuel cell. Going to be a fuel cell that's loaded, and his pit stall is unloaded. 98 in. Carter Casey leads the way. Dylan Basin there in second, chasing him down. And between these two, a 15-lap difference in tire degradation. Down low, Dylan Basin takes the lead, and he takes it once again up easily. Now Casey in trouble once more. His very extreme strategy does not look like it'll work for the victory, and it looks like our championship spoiler goes through once again to lead yet another lap with 15 laps remaining. This man has been way too good for the field. It looks like once again Dylan Basin does it just like that. A leader once more in the crunch time stage, and the 009 finds himself up in front with nothing around him. He's got a 1.5 second lead over Carter Casey, a 3-second lead over main adversary Jordan Kuntz. Matthew Weeks now fading into the realm of Vinny Tigger, and Vinny Tigger now going to be fading into the Alec Daffin machine. Daffin with a newest set of tires, all of which he has to push hard to get back up there, though. He's got a ways away to go. He's pretty far back on those guys. He finds himself now 9 seconds off of Dylan Basin and a total of 6 seconds off of Jordan Kuntz. Putting the pedal to the metal is the end game for drivers like the number 48 machine. He'll have to put all he's got into that cockpit. That Chevy Silverado can go no further than the next 14 laps. Better put all your energy in to get that time right back. Side by side though, Jordan Kuntz gets by Carter Casey, and he's going to now be in second. It's Carter Casey in third, and Matthew Weeks is in fourth. Vinny Tigner position number 5 as it stands. And for GM Racing, this number 99, he holds on to that top 5, but not by all too much. Last time by, lost a 0.5 second to Alec Daffin, and it looks like that might become worse and worse. Now we'll check the timing and scoring at the start-finish line, as we got a Baker's dozen do it, and make it an even dozen. 12 laps to go. That time by, Vinny Tigner ran a 30.663. Alec Daffin ran a 30.306. He is quicker, but not by all too much that time by. He'll have to pick up the pace just a bit more to catch a few drivers for some positions. Now it's all up to Dylan Basin to get this one done in the number 23. Basin down and in once again, front stretch dreaming. He's had a dream of a race, and nobody's been able to stop him so far. For Chevrolet, this number 23 has represented it well. And with 11 laps remaining, the closest battle on the racing circuit is Matthew Weeks and Carter Casey. Looking aboard with Matthew Weeks, take a look at that telemetry that you're going to see on the tachometer. The tach gets up to 7,000, then backs down just a bit, very slightly. Going to rev off the tire there for just a moment. He'll lean a bit less. And now he'll have a shot as there's a spin and a wreck. It's going to be down around Aaron Brown. The yellow flag flies with 10 laps to go. Aaron Brown is around, and we have a yellow flag for the first time tonight. We come onto it with an onboard perspective, and the caution will fly here in Texas. after all. And just like that, we have a yellow flag, and this changes everything. Instant replay, Brown, loose, drifting, and that's going to send them into Jordan Coots. They make contact. Coots gets away with a smashed up front bumper. Yellow flag comes out shortly thereafter. Aaron Brown, a number 51 machine. Now, because of your first yellow flag, and just like that, we are under yellow in the Lone Star 170s. We take a look back live on FTN. Brown leads not. Is an 8th. Fades way back as with 105 laps in the books. This will come down to a final restart. And the pressure is high to get this one done for guys like Dylan Basin and Jordan Coots, first and second. They are going to come down to pit road, most likely only two retirees, and Alexander Valeris, and now Michael Deitch is Jordan Parker, who's in 10th, Kyle Jackson in 9th, Aaron Brown in 8th. Rest of the field is still kicking it, and it looks like some will come down to pit road, likes of which include nobody, and it looks like pit road was closed that time by, so it looks like a decision to keep pit road closed and get back to the racing. As the caution flies for the first time, they want to get back to the green flag action no matter what. Basin going to go down low. He wants to lead this thing, of course. And with only 10 drivers still on the circuit and 9 in formation, and really only 8 on the lead lap, it is a very small pack that will take them down to the checkered flag. Aaron Brown finds himself in the 9th spot, and he is now 1 lap down, not getting his lap back, as the cause of the yellow flag was Kyle Jackson, who was not the cause, gets it back, and now brings himself to the lead lap. Dylan Basin, nonetheless, is your leader, and he will take him down to the backstretch once again, with Jordan Coots in 2nd and Carter Casey in 3rd. And a big change in how this race is going to go. It is that number 23 up in front who's stolen the show and led him convincingly all night long. With a total of 106 laps in already, it would be a shock to see anyone else come out as a winner. But we are expecting a 6-lap dash to the checkered flag to get this one over with. And it's going to be a close call either way for each and every one of these drivers. 6 laps, many guys on a bit of an old tire strategy. You played it perfect and now have a big advantage. Nobody, though, comes down at pit road and they all remain on the track. It looks like they'll stay with what they've got. It could have been a tire limit that caused just that, and it looks like that's the case, as now they will go double file next time by. So the caution is get extended. It once again appears we will stay single file, and it will be a 5-lap dash as a result. What about this race has been normal? Nothing of the sort. Over 150 miles of driving, and now we have our first yellow flag. Stands dominating Dylan Basin out in front. In 2nd, it is Jordan Coots and then Carter Casey, position number. Fantastic driving all night long, and now it is time for another big run. This time it's not going to be a marathon, it will be a sprint. Get to the checkered flag, and this is going to be the sprint that all is made of. 7 laps remaining, and it's going to be Dylan Basin who finds himself the leader all over again. Jordan Coots going to be in 2nd, Carter Casey's in 3rd, Matthew Weeks they're in 4th. Waiting, it looks like they still are, as now Kyle Jackson is with them. 5 laps to the finale of this one, and the Lone Star 170 comes down to a late race yellow flag after over 100 laps of green flag racing. This is what it's all about here in Texas. The stakes are high, and the opportunities have come to this. Now, as they come around, it's going to be double file as the caution lights still go around and illuminate the track. Now time, kept this one going. Pace lights are off. 5 laps to go to finish this race in style. Jordan Coots, eyeside. He's now got himself an even playing field with the number 009. Dylan Basin and Jordan Coots on the same tire run. Nobody else on a younger run than him besides the man in the 96 and Kyle Jackson and the man at number 8 and Aaron Brown. Everyone else on an older set of tires, so it's going to be all about the top 2 up in front to get this win. Carter Casey on a 28-lap Woodston has to pit. That's his race. It looks like this strategy will go out of his mind, and it's going to drive him out of his mind as well, as he looks like he'll be set to go 1 lap down unless we get a miracle yellow flag. Keep this race going into overtime. It's a miracle for him. It will be horrible for anyone else. They all want one more shot at this race. Jordan Coots up high. He's got damage, but Dylan Basin does not. Can the Dominator come home with his 2nd win of the season, or will Jordan Coots come through for yet another in his championship run of a lifetime? We will find out, and we've waited over 105 laps to get this restart in, and it comes now. Restart number 1 in Texas Motor Speedway comes after over 108 laps of trying. Lap 109, it's going to be a 5-lap shootout. Let's go racing once again from Texas. And the gap immediately builds for the man at the number 009, Dylan Basin out in front as they go almost 4 wide. It's going to be now down low. Vinny Tigner taking a spot or 2. He's going to try to make it 3. He does not. Now Carter Casey hangs tough on the low side. Alec Daffin going to be up high. They're all up in this one, and it's now going to be Alec Daffin who runs up on that 2nd groove as they come down the line once again. 4 laps to go to get this one done. Jordan Coots going to be in 2nd and Carter Casey in 3rd. Casey now going to be pressured once again, this time by Vinny Tigner. Alec Daffin going to be in 3rd, getting right by. It looks like Daffin now has a shot to go for 2nd. It is Jordan Coots with damage who's still there in the catbird seat, but it's going to be Alec Daffin who goes up high, and trying to run back down low will be his method to the madness. Jordan Coots, the rear view mirror, it is occupied, and now down low, Daffin has a shot. He'll get it in, and he will not be clear anymore. Jordan Coots going to have to fight for all he's got as they come down to the line once again. 3 laps to go to get this one done, and it's going to be Dylan Basin now out in front with a good margin. It's Alec Daffin in 2nd. Coming through is Jordan Coots in 3rd. Rest of your field still battling. Carter Casey hanging tough with Matthew Weeks. His tires are still cooled up enough to just give them one last fight, and it's going to be a close call to even get down to that checkered flag with the way things have gone for the number 1. Now making 2 laps to go. Alec Daffin gaining more and more time. It looks like Dylan Basin has made his time as well, and they are side by side right behind for position number 5. Matthew Weeks gets it. He's going to be able to get through easily. Aaron Brown 1 lap down. He's in trouble. He looks to be running out of fumes here as he's going to come down, and it appears, to pit road and call it a night. Going at a speed of about 130 miles an hour. He is slower than every other driver, making it in on his own. Dylan Basin, though, comes down on a white flag, and he will have it away for him. White flag's out in the Lone Star 170, and this could be his if he just holds on one more time. Dylan Basin, another dominating performance that has been all night long, 2nd to last on the grid, and he's clawed his way all the way back up, and yet another performance to remember. Texas Motor Speedway, everything's bigger in Texas, and I'm sure this win will be bigger than the last. As a checker flag falls in Texas, it's going to be Dylan Basin who gets it done in the Lone Star 170. The Chevy Silverado comes out on top for the manufacturer, and he slides it through and begins the celebration as soon as he can. Yet another earned without much more to say. He has been magnificent this season. Dylan Basin, nothing can stop him. The 009 comes out on top once more. Let's get a quick read through your results here tonight. It was Dylan Basin who comes home as a race winner, and it was Alec Daffin in 2nd, right there with him. Your pole sitter finishes 2nd with Jordan Coots finishing in 3rd. Vinny Tigner, position number 4 as Matthew Weeks comes home 5th, and Chris Tripp comes home in 6th. Carter Casey, position number 7, and Kyle Jackson 5 seconds off. The last man of the lead lap is in 8th, as Aaron Brown comes home 2 laps down in 9th. Your retirees go as follows: Jordan Parker in 10th, and then River Page 11th. That's Alexander Balderas, as a matter of fact, and Michael Deitch last in 12th. 91 laps down to finish off the field, and now to get his burnout started It is Dylan Basin on his way to burn down the house after a dominating performance here in Texas. And Dylan Basin still burning this one down, and you can see on the live footage here, still by the front stretch, and yet another win to remember. He has been oh so dominant all season long, and he shows once again that he is the king of this field, coming home yet another victory. How about this for the 009? Dylan Basin, another dominating performance, and now taking a loop around the Legends Oval. Had them for a loop all night long. Another win number 2, and it comes once again as a playoff spoiler. How do you feel after this one?
Pretty good, man. One of my favorite tracks to race on, not to watch, but to race on. And it's a little bit tougher than Darlington because it's mostly flat out, and everyone's kept together by the draft. But once I broke the draft, it was kind of just run away. That restart. I wasn't too worried. If I just got a good gap in the restart, I would have been good. And all I did was just run my line the whole race and keep my tires on it.
And once again, another Dylan Basin win, coming down to yet another late race restart. That's a bit of a shocker when it comes down to the statistics. We've seen some clean races, and tonight was one of them. Again, over 100 laps on the green. And how did that prepare you for the final dash?
I mean, honestly, the final dash was a little different than the 100 laps. We were pushing on old tires as hard as we could compared to, usually we're doing those runs on the same, like, I can't word it. Okay. So these tires are a little bit worn out, and usually when they're this worn out during a long run, we don't push on them that hard. So it's kind of a new thing for all of us trying to push on these old tires on the restart because we didn't know what to expect.
And it looks like the unpredictable for every driver, and it was still another fantastic performance. That final restart, still able to master it once again, and Basin back in victory lane. Now, what we do know, we're going to have yet another mile-and-a-half oval coming up right next. Legacy, Kentucky. Are you going to be expected to come right back?
Legacy, Kentucky would be a fun track, but I'm looking forward to it.
And looking forward to yet another shot for a victory. Dylan Basin, for his second win of the season, gets it done at Texas. Any final thoughts that anyone else you'd like to thank?
I'd like to thank Elliott Sadler Esports and SimSeats. Thank you for the broadcast, and thanks to the owners for putting up this league.
And there we have it, Dylan Basin coming home yet again on top, this time a bit harder, but nonetheless another fantastic performance. Second win of the season, and second win in the playoffs of the Lone Star 170. Thank you for your time.
Yep, thank you.
Here we have it, Basin going to be on his way. Another fantastic drive for him, and he's still burning this one down. I tell you what, he's got a celebration in mind for all of us, but it's going to be Alec Daffin came home in second, and we'll get a look at him right about now. Daffin had to drive hard as well, and this kid, the number 48 machine, battled through and through. Let's get a word with Alec Daffin. Come home second, and once again, Dylan Basin getting the win when you come home in second. Another solid finish, but once again, it seems like the competition just a bit more ahead. Nonetheless, your championship contenders. So what's the big takeaway from the Lone Star State?
Obviously glass half empty, glass half full. Like, we were the top finishing playoff driver, another good finish after start on pole. Finish second, always a good day. But of course, just like Darlington, Dylan shows up and I finished second. And the last week, Dylan wasn't here, but I wasn't up there to contend for the win. But it's still good. Still another good run. Haven't gone that break 3, unfortunately. I really want to before the season's over, before I leave the league at the end of the season. But you know what? If you keep riding like this, I think we'll get there eventually. Just gotta wait for our day,
And still waiting for that victory, but nonetheless, yet another solid run, and it looks like that caution played into your favor very well. How was it managing your truck until that point? It seemed like you might have been a bit too far out of reach for a podium before that point.
Yeah, caution definitely gave us a chance there. I wish I could come a couple laps sooner after I came out of the pits, but still, I mean, we had that tire advantage. So, like, when I pit, it was kind of a balancing act. Because, like, I don't want a short pit because then we get caution, we're screwed, be on old tires, like, in case of, like, Carter, a couple other guys. But if I run the fuel tank dry, like, the guys that short, I might not run them back down if it goes green. So that's why I want to pit, like, a couple laps after everybody so that, like, we're able to run them down on green run, but also have a little tire advantage if we did get caution. So in hindsight, we should run the tank dry, but we still had that tire advantage, and we were able to get back up to second there. Kind of at a close call, passing Carter there. A couple laps to go, but made it through that, thankfully. And then just to have enough laps to run down Dylan there. I mean, it was fast all race, but if we had a couple more laps, maybe we could have had him. But, you know, still, all in all, probably our third place truck got second out of it, so we'll take it.
Able to take another good points run with only a few races remaining. Alec Daffin second here in Texas. So with that being said, any final thoughts? Anyone else you'd like to thank?
Yeah, first, I want to thank Fisher Studios for being on the truck. It's our second race, and deal with them the rest of the season. Thank you, Jordan Parker. Thanks, Cameron, for putting on the league. Thank you, David, for doing the broadcast with FTN. Everybody for being clean out there. And my Twitch viewers at Alec Daffin48. And yeah.
And great to have Alec Daffin once again. A phenomenal performance for the number 48 machine coming home. Position number 2, runner-up at the Lone Star 170. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, David.
Yeah, but it's going to be Alec Daffin on his way there, and Jordan Coots, who comes home in position number 3. Fought all race long for that lead, but the final restart might have caught you a bit off guard. How was it all night long before that point?
Well, I was fast all night long. I held with Dylan Basin for a long time. I burnt off my tires a bit too much early on in the second stint, and dirty air definitely didn't help, but just didn't have the track position and just got caught up in an unfortunate wreck.
And the wreck caught you out there big time. It looked like it was going to be some big front end damage, but you were still able to survive for a third place finish. So how was it driving your machine for the final few laps despite the damage?
I felt fine in the corner, just down on the straight line speed, but I think I can be very happy that I only lost one position, and that was to someone on newer tires. But I think it was a lot faster than it would be on the old damage model. The new damage model definitely really saved my race, and hoping that it can play into my hand later on in the championship.
Championship race still the top priority for every driver here. Yet another solid finish. Looking really good to come home with a championship perhaps in mind. However, next race, Kentucky, yet another shot at victory lane. What's it going to take to come home with a legacy track on top?
I've never even done a race at Legacy, Kentucky, so definitely will have to do some laps there to learn the track, and I think it's ultimately going to maybe be something like Kansas with fuel strategy could play a big part, but I think we'll see whenever the race comes.
That we will see. Jordan Kuhn's third spot once again on the podium at Texas Motor Speedway. And with that being said, any final thoughts? Anyone else you'd like to thank?
I'd like to thank everybody for putting on this league. It was a very fun race night, even though the unfortunate events, and you for all the great broadcasts you put on this season, and hopefully I can round this great championship season with a championship win.
And there we have it. Jordan Kuhn still chasing down a title, puts yet another consistent race in the bag. 00 comes on third in the Lone Star 170. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
There we have it. That was Jordan Kuntz and his 00 machine. We got to thank all our viewers, of course. Once again, a phenomenal race, and this time by Dylan Basin, who comes home a winner here in the Lone Star 170 air race winner. Second time this season. We're going to thank all our viewers once more. I've been your host, David Croy. It's great to have you aboard on this Saturday night, and we expecting to be back next on Wednesday with the 4 Daytona 250, a big race, high stakes, and high intensity action at a super speedway coming at you. Following that, going to be the Highline Racing League final race of the season for season 15 is going to be the Services and Supply season finale at Fontana. Keep an eye out for that as well. And we got to thank you all for all your support. We will return on Wednesday and Thursday. And with that being said, thank you once again from our studio to your homes. Support is greatly appreciated, and we hope to see you once again whenever we're live again on FTN.